Awesome. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's class, which is a lesson on low FODMAP nutrition planning for health professionals. So my name is Abigail. I am the co-founder of That Clean Life. I'm also a registered nurse. And I also have Avita here with me today, who's our super awesome dietitian in residence. Okay, so we have a really great group of health professionals coming out for today's class. So what I would love for you to do is open up the chat box, ensure your settings are set to all panelists and attendees, or all, I'm not sure what it says these days, and let us know who you are, where you're tuning in from, and what type of health professional you are. And Avita, if you could read those introductions for me if they're rolling in, because I definitely can't see them.
Will do. I'll keep you posted.
Okay, so keep those introductions rolling in, and we're going to go ahead and turn our cameras off and dive into the agenda. Okay, so in today's class, we're going to discuss what the low FODMAP diet is and the latest research. We'll cover the best low FODMAP resources and explain how we go about tagging our low FODMAP recipes here at That Clean Life. We're going to talk about key considerations when creating low FODMAP nutrition plans. Then we're going to take you right into That Clean Life, show you just how easy creating low FODMAP resources for your clients can be. And finally, we'll share some examples of services and programs that you can offer to help clients with IBS and really scale your business. So Vita, how are those introductions going? Who do we have here today?
We've got people from all over the world, all the way from BC, Canada, to Toronto, to Alabama, New York, Los Angeles, Tennessee,
Wow.
to London, Glasgow, England, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, like lots of places and lots of different professionals tuning in. So welcome, everyone. It's so nice to virtually meet all of you.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. That's awesome. Okay, so our goal is that today's class will help you take your low FODMAP knowledge to the next level and feel more confident when it comes to creating nutrition plans for clients on the low FODMAP diet. So, are you all ready to get this low FODMAP party started? If so, I want you to drop a let's go into the chat box so we know you are here and ready to begin.
We've got those let's go's coming in.
Awesome. Okay, so why don't we start things off with a little refresher of the concept of low FODMAP? Avita, over to you.
Thanks, Abigail. Oh, we've got some party faces too. People are ready to get into this. That's awesome.
Party people.
Let's start with defining the term FODMAP, which is an acronym for a group of short chain carbohydrates. So these are fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. And they're common even in very healthy foods. So high sources of FODMAPs include, they're found in fruits, vegetables, bread, cereals, nuts, legumes, and confectionery products. So for example, they're found in lactose products. All dairy products contain lactose, such as yogurts, milk, soft cheeses, and ice creams. It's found in fructose, which is from apples, pears, mangoes, figs, watermelon, honey, agave nectar. Fructins, such as garlic, onions, gluten-containing grains, dried fruit, artichokes, extracts like chicory and inulin fiber, and galacto-oligosaccharides contained in all legumes, as well as pistachios and cashews, as well as sugar alcohols, which are added to processed items like sugar-free candies, gums, chocolates, but also naturally found in whole foods like cauliflower, mushrooms, and stone fruits. So FODMAPs are found in a lot of foods, and when FODMAPs are eaten, they move slowly through the small intestine, attracting water. When they reach the large intestine, gut bacteria use the FODMAPs as a fuel source to survive. The bacteria rapidly ferment FODMAPs, producing gas as a result. And these events, it occurs in all people. So that means people with and without irritable bowel syndrome. The difference is that people with irritable bowel syndrome or IBS can have problems with motility. So that's the speed at which the contents move through the intestines. And a highly sensitive gut wall as well can cause this issue. So what happens is the extra water and gas in the intestines cause the intestinal wall to stretch and expand, and this results in common IBS symptoms such as pain, excessive wind, bloating, distension, an altered bowel habit like diarrhea, constipation, or both. Let me know in the chat if you have clients with IBS, medically diagnosed IBS, or you use a lot of the low FODMAP diet in your practice. I'd really love to know, who I'm talking to and how I can expand on this further. And when it comes to who needs the low FODMAP diet, there's a couple of people. So next slide, Abigail. A low FODMAP diet is intended for people with medically diagnosed IBS, and research shows that IBS symptoms improve in 3 out of 4 people who follow a low FODMAP diet, including reducing pain and discomfort, bloating and distension, improving bowel habit, which is reducing diarrhea, constipation, and just improving quality of life. So we've got some practitioners in this chat who also use it for SIBO and potentially for colitis. And so it can help for different other gut conditions as well, not necessarily restricted to IBS. It's just most commonly used for individuals diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. And practitioners who use a low FODMAP diet to help clients learn which foods and FODMAPs they can tolerate and which trigger their IBS symptoms. This effective diet, essentially what it does is it gives clients more food freedom and allows them to create a nutritionally balanced diet. So if you've used this diet with your clients, let me know in the chat if you found that your clients have found that food freedom from using it and maybe have had some relief from these common symptoms. The benefits are usually seen within the first 2 to 6 weeks of following a low FODMAP diet. And of course, the diet does not cure IBS symptoms. It just helps people live more comfortably with their condition. And typically, the low FODMAP diet has 3 phases: elimination or substitution, reintroduction, and personalization. The first step, so that's where you're actually implementing the low FODMAP diet, should be commenced under the supervision of a registered health professional. That's you. And it should last about 2 to 6 weeks. And during this phase, the client typically will only eat foods in a low FODMAP serve. And then in the second step, that's the reintroduction phase, it involves reintroducing foods back into the client's diet in a methodical way to determine which foods and FODMAPs trigger symptoms and which do not. Each FODMAP subgroup should be reintroduced separately while a client's background diet remains low in FODMAPs. And this step typically would last about 6 to 8 weeks to complete the full reintroduction stage. And then step 3 is personalization, which involves establishing the client's longer-term personalized FODMAP diet. So once you have worked with your clients to interpret their food triggers and tolerances, you can begin to reintroduce foods and FODMAPs that were well tolerated and avoiding only the foods that triggered their symptoms. So it's important to remember that FODMAP tolerance can change over time. So if there are foods your client doesn't tolerate well, try again in a few months to see if anything has changes. And we've got a couple comments here coming too, that Melissa saying that the low FODMAP diet has helped with reducing bloating and gas in clients. Jeffrey's used it for client sensitivities, and Kim says that she typically sees results in the restrictive phase, so phase 1.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. So yes, that is like, when you look at that list of foods you have to avoid, as Avita, you were going through those, I was like, whoa, this can be a super overwhelming diet to follow. So definitely a great one to guide clients through with the help of a professional. So what about research? Is the low FODMAP diet well studied and supported?
Yeah, great question. So researchers in the Department of Gastroenterology at Monash University were the first to actually identify FODMAPs and their role in individuals affected by irritable bowel syndrome. And since the original research over 20 years ago, the team's contributions have helped millions of people with IBS across the globe to manage their symptoms using the highly specialized IBS diet. So it's a really well-researched diet. And the database of foods available are available via the Monash FODMAP app. And this allows patients and health professionals to easily access information of foods they can eat and foods they should avoid whilst undertaking the low FODMAP diet. And Abigail, one thing you mentioned was, it's an overwhelming list of foods to avoid. But the way that the researchers at Monash frame it is, instead of thinking of it as an elimination diet, it's kind of a substitution diet. So what they do is they use a simple traffic light rating system to indicate whether foods are low, moderate, or high in FODMAPs and encourage individuals to pick those green light foods or those foods that are low in FODMAPs instead of focusing on those red ones. And Monash occasionally retests foods to ensure that the information they are providing is still accurate. And they regularly add new foods to the app. So they don't assume any foods are FODMAP free. And, this changes and foods change their FODMAP status because of growing conditions, environmental stressors, food storage. All of that can impact a food's FODMAP status. So here at That Clean Life, we are really staying on top of these updates to keep our low FODMAP tag and programs accurate. So based on this low FODMAP framework from Monash University, only recipes made with green light ingredients which can be eaten freely are tagged as low FODMAP within That Clean Life.
Okay, so that's an important point. Like Monash does not say any foods are FODMAP free anymore. And that's why it's called a low FODMAP diet, right? If it's not a FODMAP free diet, just the goal is to keep the FODMAPs as low as possible.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm curious, how many of you here today are currently using the low FODMAP diet in your practice? Let us know with a simple yes or no in the chat. And for those of you who do use the low FODMAP diet, I'm seeing a lot of yeses come in here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for those of you who do, what would you say are the biggest challenges you face when it comes to helping clients on a low FODMAP diet? Let us know in the chat. Okay, so it looks like a lot of you, okay, so food fatigue, the same compliance. Anthony also says compliance. Dana says discipline. Okay, lots of challenges, restrictions, sticking to it, variety, being confused. I can absolutely understand that. Okay. So what do you feel are the key things that health professionals should keep in mind then as they create nutrition plans for clients on the low FODMAP diet to help clients kind of overcome all of these very common challenges?
Yeah, these are some great responses from you. So thank you for everybody. And Malika just asked, is this live or pre-recorded? So this is live, but we are recording this session and we will send out the replay after. So if you have to pop out at any time, don't worry, we will send out this full replay. So back to the low FODMAP diet and the key considerations to think about when you're implementing this is, even as health professionals, like I mentioned, Monash is constantly changing the status of those low FODMAP foods. And so it's important for us to keep up to date with the research and also ease those fears of clients and take out that confusion. Because IBS is such a complex condition and there simply isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. So prior to creating an IBS nutrition plan, it's important first and foremost to conduct an assessment to understand your client's symptoms, dietary preferences, known allergies or intolerances, their nutrition knowledge, their cooking skills. And then before you recommend the low FODMAP diet, you can help clients implement first-line IBS management strategies so that they can work on creating foundational dietary and lifestyle habits. So these habits can focus on meal patterns, fiber adequacy, limiting gut irritants, stress management, and exercise. As mentioned, the 3 phases of the low FODMAP diet are that elimination or substitution, the reintroduction, and personalization. And the elimination phase involves reducing IBS symptoms by removing those high FODMAP foods and eating those low FODMAP foods. But it's crucial to recognize and to let your clients know that the elimination phase of the low FODMAP diet is only intended to be followed for 2 to 6 weeks, followed by that structured, FODMAP challenge and reintroduction phase. So that can also give them some relief and remove some fears. And staying on the elimination phase, for any of you who are implementing this with your clients, really try to keep it to the 2 to 6 weeks, because if you keep the client on it for extended periods of time, this can increase the risk for nutrient deficiencies and lead to unfavorable changes to the gut microbiome. So that's a really big key consideration. And it's therefore important to implement consideration to monitor your client's diet for nutritional adequacy. So key nutrients that can be compromised on the low FODMAP diet include fiber, calcium, vitamin B12, prebiotics, and probiotics. So food anxiety can often develop in clients as well, like many of you mentioned that, anxiety or fears. And this can often develop in clients following the diet when food takes up more space in their mind than it should. And if they are constantly worried about how food is going to affect their gut, this is where your role as the health professional comes in to provide a good amount of recipe ideas, plans, and strategies. And there can also be challenges with symptoms not improving due to other factors, as IBS is more complex than diet. So keep an eye out for other symptom triggers. Like someone mentioned, sleep's really important. So sleep, stress, eating quickly, meal spacing, hormone imbalance. So many clients experience constipation, diarrhea around their menstrual cycle. Medications, spicy foods can bother some clients' GI tracts. Alcohol can cause gut inflammation, and high-fat foods can impact how quickly or slowly bowels move. So, try and help your clients also monitor other symptom triggers. And then when it comes to providing your individualized approach, the low FODMAP diet should be adapted to suit different people based on each individual's lifestyle, nutritional status, and symptom severity. So not everyone can or needs to do the full elimination diet. There's also a simplified approach called the bottoms up or the gentle approach. And what this is it involves fewer dietary restrictions than the full elimination diet. So instead of initially swapping all high FODMAP foods for low FODMAP foods, as is the case in the standard structure, the gentle approach first identifies a few high FODMAP foods and or targeted FODMAPs that may be causing symptoms in someone. Then the individual may reduce these FODMAPs for a period of time and then increase the accelerator or increase these foods with further dietary restriction if necessary. And then you can monitor their symptoms, and it's appropriate for people with this. So this gentle approach or bottoms up approach is really great for people with mild symptoms of IBS, who may be eating a lot of high FODMAP foods, or for people who are unable or unlikely to comply with a strict elimination diet. So many of you mentioned too, an issue that you're having with your clients is compliance. So this bottoms up or a gentle approach might be a better option. It may also be appropriate for people at higher risk of malnutrition, such as older adults and children. Both the gentle and standard approach involve the 3 phases of elimination, challenge, and reintroduction. But in the standard approach, it basically just removes all FODMAP foods and substitutes with low FODMAP options, even if the client thinks that the foods might be well tolerated. So again, after the initial restrictive diet, many people are able to return to their usual eating habits with just a few high FODMAP foods that need to be removed in large amounts. So recommending the appropriate reintroduction and maintenance phase of FODMAP containing foods requires that individualized approach, throughout all these phases. And you as a practitioner should be providing delicious recipes as a guide, which can help your clients achieve variety, balance, and still have fun enjoying those flavorful meals on the diet.
Awesome. Okay, that's really interesting. The bottoms up versus standard approach. So it sounds to me, Avita, tell me if I've got this right. Bottoms up approach is less restrictive. You can focus on just eliminating the highest FODMAP foods. And then with the standard approach, it's kind of more restrictive. Is that right?
Exactly, that's right. And with the gentle approach or bottoms up approach, you basically you might know which foods are causing issues for your clients. So, if they're having a large amount of, a specific high FODMAP food, you can immediately remove that one and see how their symptoms improve. So it might be a better approach, especially if you know what's happening, or for clients who are unlikely to follow that strict diet or the strict standard approach.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be a good approach too for people with food anxiety going into this. The bottoms up approach might be better for them because they don't have to be as overwhelmed with eliminating so many foods. They can just focus on the top ones.
Exactly. So maybe even if for everyone in the chat, if you can let us know, what do you use? Do you use the standard approach or do you use the bottoms up gentle approach? I'm interested to know what works for your clients.
Yeah, me too. Let us know in the chat. Okay, so either way, overall, low FODMAP diet is quite restrictive, and it can be very time consuming to set out low FODMAP recipes and meal plans for your clients. But we have many, many features inside of that Clean Life that can help with this. So before we take it into I'm just going to pop into the chat here. What's the consensus, Evita? Are we seeing standard approach or bottoms up?
We're seeing both, and Barbara even says depends on the client, which might be the best way to do it too. But yeah, we're seeing both of them, standard, and then some Jeffrey says they use standard with some adjustments. So maybe considered a softer approach.
Okay, cool. So we have a mix of both, and sometimes it depends. Okay, so if you're all up for it, I'd love to take you right into that Clean Life to show you how to easily create amazing low FODMAP nutrition plans for your client. So how does this sound to you all? Do you want to see this in action? Give me a yes in the chat if you are ready to continue.
All right, we've got the yeses coming in.
Amazing, love it. Okay, keep those questions coming in as I go through this. Evita is going to switch out into the app now, if it'll let me. Okay. Okay, how does that look from your end, Evita?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, so I'm going to walk you through how to create low FODMAP nutrition plans for clients. Like I said, if you have any questions as we go here, drop those into the chat and I'll pause every now and then just to answer your questions. Okay, so when it comes to low FODMAP nutrition planning, as Evita said, one size does not fit all. Some clients might want a meal plan. Some clients might just want recipes to pick and choose from. And some of your clients might want to do their own meal planning. So did you know that you can do all of those things with that Clean Life? You absolutely can. And I'm going to show you how. So let's start with providing clients with low FODMAP meal plans. So if you head into our programs tab, you're going to find here right now what you can see we have 112 done for you programs. We just released a plant-based low FODMAP diet, and this accompanies our regular omnivore low FODMAP diet. So we have 2 done for you low FODMAP plans. Now you can go into any of these plans. Let's click into the plant-based low FODMAP diet. You'll see that each of our programs comes with an overview. It comes with evidence, which Evita has written, and she's linked to all the scientific studies here that support why she focused on the nutrients and the key considerations. So what you can do is actually turn the evidence into a snippet, and you can include that with your meal plan. So I'm going to do that now in advance. Another really cool thing about our programs is that it comes with a prep guide. So on the right-hand side here, you're going to see prep guide. And what the prep guide does is I'll open it up for you. It outlines everything your client needs to do to follow the plan. So it tells them, here's what to do on Sunday, do your grocery shopping, here's what to prep, and then what to do on every day after that. So here's what to do Monday morning, here's what to do Monday evening. And yeah, I see Jeffrey in the chat saying that prep guides are so helpful, and absolutely, like when you hand your client, especially a client on a low FODMAP diet, when you hand them a meal plan, they're going to take one look at it and they're going to be like, oh my goodness, where do I even start? But when you hand them a plan with a prep guide like this that outlines everything, they can just tick off the boxes as they go and really stay on track and stay organized. So yes, Jeffrey's saying it erases my clients' worries every time. So it really takes the overwhelm out of it. So if you're not using those prep guides with our pre-made programs, definitely check those out. Now, actually, let's take a look at the plant-based low FODMAP meal plan. So let's click on preview. And here you're going to see the full meal plan, which has been created by our dietitian in residence, Evita, who's here with us today. So Evita has outlined breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. And this meal plan or this template is completely customizable. So while this has been designed to hopefully suit your client's needs, we know that you're probably going to have to modify it. For example, maybe your client doesn't like sweet potatoes, or maybe they don't like pineapple and you have to swap a few recipes out. And that is super easy to do. So let me show you how that's done. I'm going to click copy. Let's say my client's name is Amanda, plant-based low FODMAP diet for Amanda. I'm going to click copy plan. And now I can modify this plan. So like I said, let's say your client doesn't like pineapple and you have this pineapple turmeric smoothie here. You can swap that out. So all you need to do is click swap recipe, and it's going to ask you if you just want to swap this one or swap all. Click swap all, and you're going to notice that pops in a new recipe. So it's going to pop in coconut candied pecans. Now you're probably wondering, how do I know if it's going to swap me a low FODMAP recipe? Well, that's because if you scroll up and you look at the SMART rules here on this plan, you're going to see that this low FODMAP tag is added. Also, the vegan tag is added so that we're going to keep this a plant-based low FODMAP plan. So you can easily swap out meals and customize this to your client's unique needs. You're going to see that the number of calories and macros all stay updated for you in real time. If you'd like to see the macros in percentages, those are also here for you. And the grocery list is automatically generated based on what you add to the plan. So as you add meals, remove meals, the grocery list is always being updated in real time, which is super awesome, because if you've ever created a meal plan from scratch and you had to add up the grocery list, you know what a pain it can be. So automatically done for you. Okay, let's switch back to the planner so I can show you how to send this off to a client. I'm going to show you two ways you can share this with a client. The first is through sharing, and the second is through exporting as a PDF. So let's say you want to share this plan with a client. You want your client to be invited right into that Clean Life so that they can interact with the plan and see everything in one place. So what you're going to do is click share. You're going to turn on sharing. And from here, you can say whether you want to allow edits, whether you want to allow your client to export the plan as a PDF so they can print it or have it somewhere else. You can password protect the plan so that you have to enter a password to view it. And you can also ask them to identify themselves before they view the plan so that you know exactly who is seeing the plan. For this particular client, Amanda, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow edits and I'm going to leave everything off. So let's copy that link and I'm going to open that up so you can see what this looks like to your client. Okay. So when your client lands, they'll see their meal plan. They can see their grocery list in the tab up here. And because I had allowed edits, they're going to be able to make swaps. They're going to be able to move things around. They can delete meals, add meals. So let me show you how that looks. Let me say that Amanda doesn't like the sweet potato bowl and she wants to swap it. I'm going to swap all, and now Amanda will see a new option. Now I see some questions about swap. So let's talk about how swap works. Swap is going to look at the tags that you've applied to the plan. So low FODMAP, vegan, and it's going to give you another recipe that matches those tags. And as closely as possible, if we can, we're going to try to give you something that closely resembles the macros of the meal that you currently have in place there so that we don't upset the balance too much. Please note, we do this when possible, but it's not always possible. So let's say your client now wants to delete this meal. So we can remove this if they want, and then they have a blank meal there so they can click and they can choose from any of the recipes you provided them with. So let's say they actually want to have the kiwi lime smoothie. They can pop that in there as well. So this really gives your clients a fun and interactive experience. And the other cool thing about sharing your plan this way is that let's say your client takes one look at this plan and they're like, oh, like, I don't think I'm going to be so into like tempeh, but they don't want to swap it out themselves. They want you to find them another option. No problem. All you need to do is go back to the plan and you can remove this or you can swap it. So I'm just going to swap it for them and get them a new option that you think that they'll like. and their plan is going to update in real time. So we're back in the client view. You can see that this is updated in real time. And the same goes for the reverse. If your client makes any swaps or changes, you can see what they're doing. So when you go back to the plan, you'll notice that they've put their kiwi lime smoothie in there and you can see the changes they've made, which is really fun. So you can give them feedback and advice in real time. Okay, so that's the first way to share a plan. Now let's talk about the other way to share this plan with a client, and that's through exporting it as a PDF. So if you would rather give your client a PDF rather than a link, all you need to do is click the icon with the 3 dots here, click Export Plan, click Nutrition. If you want to include nutrition information, totally optional, up to you whether you want to include notes. You can take those off if you want. Choose a cover page. So you can choose anything for the front page cover. And you can also add notes. You can do this with sharing as well, which I'll show you in a little bit. But let's say you want to put that snippet in. So I'm just going to click on Snippets, pop in the plant-based low FODMAP diet evidence that we wrote. And it pops in a little note that says this program was created using low FODMAP foods with the following key considerations. And it goes through all of the research. So it really kind of shows your client why this meal plan is the way it is and what nutrients to focus on. So it really gives that educational piece. And then when you're done, all you need to do is click Start Export. And we're going to bundle everything together with your business information, your branding, and your notes. And it'll be downloaded as a PDF into your downloads. So I downloaded that in advance. So let me show you what that looks like. First page will have the front page cover that you chose, the meal plan, the evidence will also be in there, the grocery list, and then all the recipes in the plan will be there. So bundles everything together in a really nice package for your client. Now, like I said, this is different from through a link because this is a stagnant PDF document. So if you needed to make changes, you would need to re-export the document. But again, it totally depends on your client, what you think would be best for them. Like some of our That Clean Life members working with the older demographic prefer a PDF just because it's easier for them to navigate than share a link. So up to you. Okay, I'm going to pause there. Avita, do we have any questions?
Just people interested in also learning the different ways to create other low FODMAP resources like recipe books and meal planning guides. So I just mentioned that we will also be getting into that.
Yes. So that was kind of how to create meal plans. I just showed you how to create a meal plan with one of our pre-made programs. You can use our plant-based low FODMAP diet. You can use our regular omnivore low FODMAP diet, and you can find those by using the search bar. Just type in low FODMAP and you'll find our low FODMAP diet and plant-based low FODMAP diet. Now, if you want to create a meal plan from scratch, you can totally do that too. So just click on new, click on blank, and I'm going to call this low FODMAP meal plan for Amanda, week 1. And create a plan. Now on the SMART rules, I'm actually going to turn on low FODMAP so that I'm only shown low FODMAP recipes. And now I can start meal planning for Amanda. So if I click on a blank square, this will only show me low FODMAP recipes. So I can scroll through and start popping things in for her. So if you prefer to create a meal plan from scratch, totally an option too. Okay. So meal planning.
We also have a question, sorry, Abby, about is this a 7-day meal planner?
Sorry, excuse me. So yes, both of our low FODMAP programs are 7 days long, and our meal planner holds up to 7 days, as you can see. You can change these labels like day 1, day 2, if you prefer not to do Monday to Friday, or you can rearrange the days, but every meal plan holds up to 7 days. But what you can do is combine meal plans. So you can either put, like if you want to do several weeks, like say your client's going to be on the elimination phase for 2 weeks, you could add 2 of the meal plans to a collection for them and then share that collection with them, which I can show you how to do that in a little bit here. You can also export 2 PDFs for them if you'd want to make it a 2-week plan. Okay. let's move on to recipes and providing your clients with a recipe book. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, maybe your client wants a meal plan, or maybe they don't. Maybe they want a recipe book, or maybe they want to do their own meal planning. So let's talk about what to do when they just want a book of recipes or a collection of recipes. So what you're going to do here is click on filter to get to low FODMAP recipes, and you're going to click on under tags, low FODMAP, and click filter recipes. Now you're only going to see low FODMAP recipes. So I forget who was asking, pardon me, I can't remember who it was, but if this is you, you were asking if you can have more than the 14 recipes that are included in the pre-made program. And yes, absolutely. As you can see here, we have a little over 600 low FODMAP recipes. So if you're looking for more, head to the recipe gallery, click on filter, put in the low FODMAP tag, and you'll see so many more options. So if you need to build more than 1 week of plans or 2 weeks from our pre-made programs, you can absolutely do that. Okay, so let's say, for example, here, your client needs low FODMAP dinners. So what I can do is open those filters again and type in dinner. And let's say your client is running super low on time and you want to keep things super simple. So let's do 1 pan low FODMAP dinners. So you can apply as many tags as you want and click filter recipes. So now I'm only going to see low FODMAP dinners that are 1 pan meals. Okay, so now what I can do is go through and start adding these to a collection for my client. So I've started one here called 1 pan low FODMAP dinners for Amanda. So I can go through, I can click into them and start adding them. If you're curious about seeing more of a recipe, you can click into it and scroll down to see the directions, recipe notes, ingredients, nutrition, and tags. So those are all in there for you if you're interested in seeing more. And then switching back to the recipe gallery, I just go scroll through and continue to add 1 pan low FODMAP dinners for Amanda until I've built this collection out. So now I'm going to pop into the collections tab. I'm going to click on 1 pan low FODMAP dinners for Amanda. So you can see I've added 23 recipes to this collection for Amanda. And now there's 2 ways I can share this with Amanda. Either I can click on the share button, turn on sharing, and copy the link and send this to Amanda. So let's see what this looks like. I'll open it up for you. Okay, so you're going to see here all the recipes on the right-hand side that you added to this collection. So Amanda can just kind of go through. She can pull this up on her phone and work through it as she needs to. The other option is to export this collection as a PDF. So to do that, you just click on the icon with 3 dots, click export collection, click recipes. Up to you whether you want to include notes and nutrition. So I saw somebody asking in the comments about recipe notes. So the recipe notes won't always be specific to low FODMAP. So in this case, I'd recommend leaving them off because that could cause some confusion. If you're working with clients just kind of in a general sense who don't have to avoid any foods, the notes are great because it kind of inspires them to get creative with the recipe. But if your clients are on a strict low FODMAP diet, I'd recommend turning notes off so that they don't see recommendations that might not necessarily be low FODMAP. You can choose a cover page for your recipe book, and then you can just export it as a PDF. Up to you whether you want to include evidence or a snippet. What I'm going to do here is show you another pre-made snippet we have for you. So let me click view all snippets and templates. We actually have a really great template that's pre-written for you that you can pop in here. It's called Recipe Collection Introduction, apply, and it instantly inserts a note for your client. Welcome to your personal recipe collection, shows them how to use it, recipe tips, and then you can click start export. And then I'm going to open up that PDF to show you what it looks like. So front page cover with your business branding. This one has mine, but obviously you're going to update your own business brand when you log into that Clean Life. Second page will have the notes for your client, or special instructions, or whatever template you want to put in there. And then just recipes. So no meal plan, just a simple recipe book. Okay, So that is creating a low FODMAP recipe collection for your clients. Do we have any questions about that?
I think we're good so far, but keep those questions coming through the chat, and I will either answer it through chat or relay them to Abigail.
Okay. One thing actually I should touch on that just kind of popped into my head there was if you want to attach a snippet with your, if you'd rather share it through a link. So let's go to that one pan low FODMAP dinners for Amanda, share. Keep in mind, you can add attachments to your shared link. So what I could do here is add an attachment, and I could add just a text attachment. Welcome to your recipe collection. And I'm going to apply it from the snippet. And then I can create that attachment so that your client has that as an attachment. So when I refresh this link, you're now going to see that there's an attachment here that kind of guides your client through how to use the recipe book. So take advantage of attachments when sharing through a link, because you can include any text or any additional links with your shared recipe books or programs.
Can you also show us, Abigail, how to pin that so that, it pops up right away for your client?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So what you can do once you've added an attachment is click pin attachment, click the icon with the 3 dots and click pin attachment. And what this is going to do is when your client visits this link, I'm going to refresh, they're going to see it pop up on their screen automatically. So pinning an attachment really ensures your client sees it. And this is a great way to get your message across right away.
Awesome. We have a couple of questions come in as perhaps on modifying our recipe. So John is saying, if a client's on a low sodium diet, can the low FODMAP recipes apply? Or maybe Dana's also mentioning that, a client is low FODMAP, but also gluten-free and dairy-free. Can you find recipes like that?
Yeah. So 2 ways you can do that. You can use filters. So let's say you want to do dinner low FODMAP 1 plan, gluten-free. You can add that as another additional tag on there. And then with sodium, you can click on the nutrition tab and you can set the amount of sodium you want per serving. So I'm going to scroll through here. The nutrition tab is really great to really narrow it down. So you can change this. So you're only searching for recipes with a particular amount of sodium, which you can set. So you can do it that way. Another option is to edit the recipe. So let me find a recipe. This one, yes, this one has sea salt and black pepper. Okay, so what I can do is copy this recipe. So let's say your client is on a low sodium diet. I'm going to copy this and call it a low sodium version, so I remember. And then I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to remove the salt and pepper so that my client's not going to use that. I'm also going to edit the notes to remove the mention of sea salt and pepper. Click edit direction and click save recipe. Now the nutrition information will update, and in your recipe box, you're going to see this modified version without any additional sodium added. So 2 ways, like I said, you can use the filters to search for low sodium, or things like gluten-free. You can layer on those filters, or you can edit any of our recipes to kind of customize them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. So last thing I want to talk to you about, we talked about meal plans. We talked about sending your clients recipe books. Now let's talk about setting clients up to do their own meal planning. A lot of our members love this feature about That Clean Life because it really encourages your clients to take meal planning into their own hands. And, a lot of people I'm looking for the right word, for lack of better words, hate on meal planning because they think it's not sustainable. They can't keep providing clients with meal plans all the time. That's absolutely true. So maybe you want to set clients up to do their own meal planning. So here's what you can do. Let's say my client Amanda is on a low FODMAP diet and I want to set her up to do her own meal planning. So I'm going to click on filter. I'm going to hit in low FODMAP and I'm going to start with breakfast recipes. and I'm going to filter, and I'm going to choose about 5 breakfast recipes to add to a collection for her. So I've started one in advance. It's called Low FODMAP Meal Planning for Amanda. So I'm going to just go through and pick out 5 breakfast recipes for her. And I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to find some snack options. And I'm going to add snacks to the collection. And then I'm going to do the same things with dinners, low FODMAP dinners. And what I'm going to do is create a really comprehensive low FODMAP collection with different lunches, breakfast, dinners, and snacks. So I've created that in advance because I didn't want you to sit here today and watch me do all that manually. So heading into the collections, I'm going to click on this low FODMAP meal planning guide for Amanda. So you can see here, there's 21 items in this. There's a mix of breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. Now what I'm going to do is head to the planner. I'm going to create a new plan, blank. I'm going to call it meal planner. And as a rule, I'm going to add low FODMAP. And I'm going to create that plan. Now I'm going to add this to the collection, the low FODMAP meal planning for Amanda. So now I'm going to click back into the collections tab. And you're going to see here in the low FODMAP meal planning for Amanda collection, you have a blank meal planner and you have all the recipes. Okay, so now I can share this with Amanda. So I'm going to click share. I'm going to turn on sharing. And I'm going to add an attachment. So I can show you what that looks like. And I'm going to actually add a text attachment. I'm going to call it welcome. And I'm going to apply the meal planning guide introduction. So what this is, it says, welcome to your meal planning guide, how to use this guide. And I'm going to create that as an attachment, and I can even pin it if I want. Now back to details. I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to make sure that I turn edits on. Sorry.
Yeah. Can you also show us how to turn user identification on? Because there's Beth is mentioning, how do you know who has access that shared link?
Yeah. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to turn on allow edit so that they can do their own meal planning. I'm going to turn on allow export so they can export it as a PDF. I'm also going to turn on password protection and user identification on. So I'm just going to set an easy password for them. And okay, so now everything's on. So now you can see what this looks like. I'm going to open this in a new incognito window. Okay. So this is loading. Now, if you turn on user identification, this is what your client sees. So if you don't want everybody having access to it, this is a great way. They can put in their name, Amanda Smith at gmail.com, and continue. And all of this information will be stored in your profile, which I can show you in a little bit so that you can keep track on who's accessing this link. And then they have to enter the password that you provided them with. Click continue, and then they'll be taken into the collection. So then they'll see your pinned attachment. If you added one, they can close that out. They'll see all the rest that you added to the collection for them. And then they'll also see the blank plan. So if they go to the blank plan, now they can start meal planning with the recipes that you provided them with. So let's say they want to do the flourless peanut butter pancakes. They can add it Monday, Tuesday, mark it as a leftover, and they can continue adding meals to their plan this way. So like I said, this is a really great way to get clients to take meal planning into their own hands, but with approved recipes, right? Like you put together this collection of low FODMAP recipes for them. So you know that they have access to low FODMAP recipes. You've also set low FODMAP as a rule. So if they make any swaps, they're only going to be shown low FODMAP recipe ideas. Okay, so then let's talk about how you can see who's accessing the plan. So let's go into your profile. So in your profile, you have little tabs here called shared. And this is where you can keep track of all the links you've shared. And at any point in time, you can edit the share. So you can turn the share off. Like, let's say your client ghosted you and you've never heard from them again, which hopefully doesn't happen to you, but you could turn the sharing off so that your client can no longer visit that link anymore. And please keep in mind, this is something you cannot do with PDFs. You can't take PDFs back, but you can turn these links off. So that's another great reason to use links. You could also see here who's viewing it. So you can say view share stats, and you can see here that it's been viewed once, nobody's exported it, and one person has viewed it, and you can see the name and their email. So that's how easy it is to set clients up to do their own meal planning. We also talked about meal plans and recipe books. So before we switch in and talk about a few more things before we sign off today, is there any questions about things within that Clean Life?
Yeah, so there's a question from Dana is how do you take your plan, whether it's in a PDF or in that sharing link format, and input it into a different software or like a practice management software?
Yeah, so actually pop into the chat. Let us know, what are you using for a practice management software? I'm really curious to know what you're all using. I see Practice Better from Elisa. Julie saying Practice Better. Anybody else? Mind Body 360, Practice Better, Practice Better. Okay, so a lot of you are using Practice Better. And I think this is kind of universal no matter what you're using. You would basically need to copy the link and upload it in Practice Better, or export your content as a PDF if that's what you want to do, and upload it to the client file in Practice Better. It's super, super simple. We've talked to Practice Better. We're good friends with Practice Better about a more formal integration, but honestly, we don't know how we could make it any easier. It's just as simple as copying the link or uploading the PDF to your practice management software. And this, it works with Practice Better, but it also works with other services too. Okay, I see Bonnie saying, I've been uploading the meal plans to Practice Better for over 3 years now. And Bonnie, is it fairly straightforward, would you say, to upload your meal plans in Practice Better? Very easy. Okay, awesome. So I hope that helps. Any other questions, Avita, before I switch back in to the slide?
Is using the snippets. So Christy's asking, do they automatically pop up when you email, or how do you include that in your email?
Okay, so with snippets will either be included in the PDF or within the shared link. So they won't be emailed. So if you decide to email the plan directly to your client, they'll either see it when they open the link or open the PDF. That's where the snippets are.
Perfect. And I think that was it for questions right now.
Okay. All right. How's everybody doing and feeling? Let us know in the chat box. Okay. Before we sign off, really important information here, because I want to help you connect the dots before we go. We've talked about the low FODMAP diet. We've shown you how to easily create low FODMAP nutrition plans for your clients, but how do you apply these things in your business to make your clients more successful, attract new clients, and scale your business and get over all of those challenges that we kind of reviewed at the start of this? So let's review some ideas here. Okay, number one, you could offer a one-on-one low FODMAP coaching package. So like Avita mentioned, the elimination phase alone often lasts 2 to 6 weeks. And then you have the reintroduction phase, which is another 6 to 8 weeks. And following that, you have the personalization phase. So all in all, the low FODMAP diet is a really lengthy process to follow, and people need a high level of support with it. So a 3 or 4 month one-on-one coaching program would be a really great service to offer. And you can use that Clean Life to create weekly meal plans or recipe books to support your clients through each phase. So they're constantly getting access to new content that helps them stay on track. How many of you have offered this? Let us know in the chat. Are any of you offering one-on-one low FODMAP coaching programs? Okay, let's move on to the second idea. Is you could offer a low FODMAP group nutrition or online course. So if you didn't want to see clients one, but would rather see many clients at once, and you're looking to scale your business, this is a great option. So after you've worked with several clients one-on-one, you may want to turn your low FODMAP diet process into a group program or an online course, so you can help more people without seeing clients one-on-one. And again, when you have that clean life, you can use it to create materials for your group program or your online course. Now, with the low FODMAP diet, that gets a bit tricky because you have the personalization phase. So the cool thing about this, you could charge a bit more because you are going to need to offer a higher level of personalization. So there is going to be a bit of one-on-one work that you're going to need to do with your low FODMAP group program or online course. So that's a great option of a service you could offer. Now, if you are a practitioner specializing or looking to specialize in IBS and want to attract more clients, a great move would be to create a low FODMAP lead magnet. For example, you could create 10 simple IBS friendly snacks. And as I showed you, you could easily use that Clean Life to put together different low FODMAP recipe collections like snacks or dinners or breakfast. So you could do this in a variety of ways. So create a recipe book, export it as a PDF, and then create a landing page, like MailChimp or ConvertKit. Both offer free landing page tools. And then people enter their email address to receive the document. How many of you have a lead magnet? Let me know in the chat. And it's really important. If you're a practitioner specializing in IBS, super important that your lead magnet relates to that, so you're attracting your ideal client. And then this is an idea for those of you who have a shop section on your website or are thinking about it. If you do have this, it would be great to make recipe books available for sale or even meal plans available for sale. So for example, you're a practitioner specializing in IBS, you could create an ebook series like the Ultimate Low FODMAP Dinner Guide or the Ultimate Low FODMAP Breakfast Guide, and have these ebooks available on your website to download so that clients can come and kind of pick and choose what they need, or maybe even bundle them together so that they can download them all. Before I created that Clean Life, I used to do this, put together recipe collections, and I'd sell them all for a certain price or bundle them together for like a discounted price. And almost always people went for the bundle. So pro tip there. And one more idea, last but not least here, you could create a Living with IBS membership site. So after a client completes one-on-one or your group program or your online course, how great would it be if you could refer them to sign up for a monthly subscription where they can continue to receive ongoing access to low FODMAP recipes and meal plans and your support. So this would be a really, really great membership site to offer, because like Avita said, the personalization phase, this could go on for a while, and people need to first figure out what foods they need to avoid, and then they need to maintain that over the long run to manage their IBS symptoms. So that would be a really helpful option to have waiting for them. Now, those are just a very few ideas of services you could offer to help clients with IBS and scale your business. So I hope those ideas were helpful. I'm curious to know which of these ideas resonates with you the most. Let us know in the chat. Okay, recipe book bundles. I'm seeing Sheila.
Yeah, it seems like recipe books was a big one.
Mm-hmm. It's a great thing to have, both for clients that are thinking about working with you. Maybe they're not ready to commit to your one-on-one services, but you could give them a preview through like a lower priced digital download. Also a really great way to attract new clients. Okay, I'm seeing some questions about pricing. We do have a really, really great blog that goes over pricing. We did a whole analysis. So Avita, if you don't mind, do you have that link handy? Okay,
there we go.
Avita just popped it into the chat. And for those of you watching the replay, it's blog.thatcleanlife.com/pricing. So what Avita and I did is we did a full analysis. We analyzed over 1,000 health professionals' websites, and we did a full breakdown of what people are typically trained for different services. So you can take a peek at that for some inspiration and for some ballpark figures, but take that with a grain of salt, use it as inspiration. What you price will totally depend on the level of customization and personalization you're offering. Okay, so How many of you here are already members of That Clean Life? If you are a member, can you type member into the chat? And if you're not yet a member, can you type not yet into the chat, just so I can get a better sense of who's here? Okay. New member, not yet. Okay, we have a mix. So for those of you who are already members, you're all set to take everything you've learned today and implement it. Whether you want to start offering a one-on-one low FODMAP coaching program, or you want to do an online program or offer low FODMAP ebooks or something else we didn't even chat about today, you can use That Clean Life to create really awesome meal plans and recipe books, and even set clients up to do their own planning. And if you're not yet a member, let me tell you about our membership options. So head to thatcleanlife.com and click on the pricing tab at the top. And from here, you'll be shown our membership options. So we have two membership options, monthly and yearly. You can join as a monthly member and pay $60 a month, or you can join as a yearly member and pay $600 a year, which saves you $120 compared to what you would pay monthly for 12 months. Now, we want to sweeten the deal a little bit, so we're throwing in a bonus offer. So here's the deal. Sign up for That Clean Life before this Thursday, March 10th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, and you'll have the chance to register for our bonus coaching call, where we're going to show you how to create awesome low FODMAP nutrition plans and scale your business with That Clean Life. So today we only briefly walked you through the software. So in this coaching call, you're going to have the chance to spend a full hour with Avita to learn how to offer better low FODMAP services and programs, put together better low FODMAP nutrition resources for your clients, and also have all of your questions answered in real time. So I want you to think of this coaching call as your launching pad, and it's designed to help you get up and running with That Clean Life, start creating awesome nutrition plans so you can help more people and scale your business. So this offer is open to all current members of That Clean Life and those who sign up before this Thursday, March 10th at 11:59 p.m. So if you're already a member, simply email us. We'll get you signed up. And if you're not yet a member, sign up, email us. We'll send you to sign up. So let's recap here. Bonus offer, group coaching call. You're going to learn how to create awesome low FODMAP nutrition plans with That Clean Life. It is for That Clean Life members only. If you're already a member, simply email us at support@thatcleanlife.com to register. We'll send you the link and you'll get to register for the bonus coaching call, which is happening next week. If you are not yet a member of That Clean Life and you want to get in on this, simply sign up at thatcleanlife.com/pricing, then email us at support@thatcleanlife.com to register for the bonus coaching call. Okay, so we have covered a lot today. I'm just looking at my clock here. I see it's already 2:02. For those of you who want to stay and ask questions about That Clean Life, or if you're on the fence about joining, we're happy to stick around for an additional 5 more minutes to answer questions. And those of you who want to sign out, feel free to go. Yeah, is there any other questions, Avita?
Just people wondering how to sign up for the coaching call. So that information is up there. Again, if you are a member, you can send us an email at support@thatcleanlife. And if you're not a member, try to join before Thursday, March 10th, and then we will send you the link as well. And then we have some individuals also asking if you are a member and you're interested in certain topics for a coaching call. So we have a question from Candace saying, are there coaching calls for renal? You can send us your suggestions at support@thatcleanlife.com. We're always excited to hear about what you want to learn more of, and we can definitely tailor our calls towards specific topics.
Yeah, like Avita just said, anything you want to see, let us know. It doesn't look like there's any other questions other than that.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay, we must have done our job well today. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming out, everybody. We really appreciate your time. Remember, our bonus offer expires this Thursday, March 10th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to get in on this bonus and coaching call and have the chance to spend some time inside of That Clean Life with Avita, be sure to sign up ASAP. And as always, if you have any questions to us, reach out anytime. You can reach out to us at support@thatcleanlife.com or hello@thatcleanlife.com. Both work. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in to today's class. Thank you, Avita, for the lesson today, and we hope to see you all next week for our bonus coaching call. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.